Yeah. And he invited me into this little cubby hole, and he was down there with this dude that used to be in the front row. We called him Dreads. He had the dreadlocks,
Uh-huh.
and this dude was crazy. Nice guy, but he was nuts. He ended up joining wrestling school because he wanted to fight Raven over something that Raven said about his girlfriend to get heat during a wrestling show. And they brought him to the school, Perry and Saturn and them guys, and beat the shit out of him, of course. But man, he was a nice guy, but he would bring the strongest weed that I'd ever had at that point. I'd
Yeah.
never had really, really good weed. I lived in Orlando and I was smoking shitty weed. I really was. And I would get a little bit of what they called hydro once in a while, but most of the shit was like brick weed. It was like hard, crunch it up, cut your fingers. It's hard to tell what's a stem and what's a leaf.
Right.
Uh, and man, this stuff smelled so good. It was so good. And he had the glass pipes, and this dreadlocks dude would bring it. And me and Ray, and that dude were under there smoking. And all of a sudden, I was like, whoa, I love you guys. And always been friends with Rey Mysterio since then. I wonder if he remembers that. But also, I became friends with that other dude. And man, he was so far out there. I was always fascinated at how crazy he was.
Man, yeah, you run into some characters. I tell you what, like
Right.
wrestling fan wise, there's some interesting ones for
This
sure.
guy used to tell me in Sabu that we were like some god spirits reincarnated or something. Like he had names for us, and he seemed to he'd name all these characters and we didn't know what he was talking about, and we were just like, man, this dude's out there. Um, One time I was sitting at the Oregon diner with him, and we're sitting across the table, and I'm just like normal. I'm just like, this dude is absolutely nuts. I'm just looking at him, like, am I nuts for hanging out with this guy because he's so nuts, or is it okay that I'm just entertained that he's so nuts? And the whole time he's telling me, like, no, I'm serious. You don't know, but you are Pyra, the god of fire, reborn again. And someday all the maidens, all the virgins and maidens are going to come down and bow at your feet, and they will all be yours. You'll have the power. He was like so far out there, and I'd just be like, you got more of that weed, bro?
Wait, what are you getting? You getting hash browns in the Oregon diner?
Yeah. So we're sitting at the diner, and he's talking all this crazy stuff like he normally does.
Uh-huh.
And in comes Kimona Wanalea.
Oh,
And I happen to really think Kimona Wanalea was hot. I was like very interested and happy that she sat down right beside me.
yeah, yeah.
Cool, a little bonding time. Let me talk to her, get to know you, whatever. Hey, how was your night? All of a sudden, dude across the table with the dreadlocks, all of a sudden he goes, oh my God, are you serious right now? Like, am I supposed to put over that tits and ass? Like, this is part of the show right now? Like, I'm supposed to stop everything just because you walk in looking like that? Like, dude, this fucking show is over. Are you really being fucking serious right now? And I was just like, and she got up and left, and I was like, I was like, whoa, dude, you really are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You just fucking, I couldn't believe that he did that, and I was like, you don't have to leave.
Come on.
Yeah. And then the guy came out and said something, about your food will be out in a few minutes, guys, or something. And the guy went back in the kitchen, and I was just fucking with the guy,
Yeah.
and I said, man, you were pretty rude to that guy. He goes, what? I go, man, you didn't have to treat him like that. He was just trying to say our food is ready. He goes, was I? I go, I don't know. He got up. He got up after I said that. He walked right back into the kitchen right after the guy to go like apologize to him.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, oh my God, this dude is so.
This guy.
Yeah. He wasn't there that long. It seems like only like a few weeks, but man, he introduced me to some really good weed and increased my standards on what I should be putting into my body. Because really, dirt weed isn't good for you. You know, you're getting all the bad and none of the good. So it really does make a difference. You know, it's not just about getting higher. It's also not just about the THC content either. People think that, and I'm all the time looking at pre rolls that I got that are like 16%, 18% THC, but they're fucking killer. And so pay attention to that too. It's the terpenes and it's a whole bunch of stuff and the combination of the cannabinoids in it. But anyway, crazy dude. And let's get back to whatever else we were talking about. Rey Mysterio.
Man, I tell you what, though, yeah, those fans experiences, you do. I could only imagine the ones you run into sometimes.
That's the only time I remember even like coming close to bonding with Kimona. Like I never had a one-on-one talk with him.
That was it. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah.